Okay, so the moon is here. Okay, so the moon is quite high up. This is a Nikon 300mm f4. Craters are visible, there's the peaking there. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Ian here, and I'm here today with Jeffery, who's an astrophotographer master. So he does a lot of astrophotography, including like stars, moon, all these kind of things in the sky. So I recently took a photo of the moon, which is like here, and I found that it was like a bit meh, so I really had no idea what to do, and I'm lazy to watch more YouTube videos on how to shoot the moon, so I thought I'll make a video and ask experts to teach me and teach you guys lah. So first question, where do we shoot the moon? What's the best timing to shoot the moon?
Okay, in order to know when's a good time to shoot the moon, basically if you keep your life simple, I use two apps.
Okay.
One of the apps that I use is called the Moon Pro. So it has a calendar that shows you when will be the next full moon and new moon. So using that data, you're able to know when's the proper time and day to shoot the moon. Okay, the other app that I use is called the Sky Guide. The Sky Guide actually shows the exact location based on the phone's GPS. It shows the exact location of where's the moon in real time, and we have an idea to set up and compose the shot before the moon rises above the horizon.
Yeah, so we set up everything. If you notice,
Yes.
the moon is still rising. I think it's not ideal yet because there's some clouds.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, so that's why we are still waiting for a while. So the app is useful in telling you when it will start to rise.
Yes.
And then which direction you should point your camera lah.
Correct.
Okay, so other than apps, right, can you just like look by like direction and see, or you really need the app?
For direction wise, it's usually somewhere in the east, depending on which part and which period of the year.
Okay. Is it anywhere in the world, or where we are now is in the east?
It's anywhere in the world.
It's
actually.
always the same.
Yeah, it's always somewhere near the east side. It might be a waste of time if you don't have the app, because you will not know when's the next full moon.
True. You might
and
be
when's
waiting
next
for
new
the moon
and
when
you
there's
may
no
be waiting,
moon.
Yeah. And then you're waiting in darkness. Where's the
Yeah.
moon? Even though you have the position, but where's the moon? You don't know where is it.
Okay, so which phase of the moon is the best to take a photo of?
Some people actually like the full moon, but I prefer the crescent because
Okay.
it's more interesting to me in my view
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong to shoot it when it's in
There's no
different
right and wrong
different
Some
phase
people like the full moon, some people like the crescent.
Okay,
It
but the
depends
idea is the same, right?
Yeah, idea is the same. The settings, everything is the same.
Okay.
The preparation is all the same.
Okay, so even when the weather is not so good, like today is a bit cloudy, is there any hope, or we should just give up?
Like for most genres and for example landscape and astro, preparation is one thing.
Yeah.
But if the weather is not in your favor, then no point. So given the situation now is cloudy, but we still can wait a bit to see whether the moon actually rises above the clouds.
Okay.
And if luck is with us, then we can maybe take a picture of the moon later.
Yeah. Now it's just
It
take a
starts
photo.
to clear up a bit so there's hope. It's rising up above the clouds.
It's covered by the clouds now, just take a
Yeah.
photo. Okay, so this is how you focus on a Sony camera, because I'm using a manual focus lens. I think it only goes into focus magnifier like 6 times because I'm on crop mode. Then just see the best that you can do lah. It's not very easy because it's shaking like mad. So now we'll move on to what kind of gear you should use and what to prepare and how to set up everything. Yeah, so obviously you need a tripod and camera and lens lah. First thing is like everybody asks is lens, right?
Yeah.
So what is the focal length that you would recommend?
For focal length, I would recommend at least 400 to 600. Of course, people are greedy the more the merrier But in reality, I think the longer you get, the more expensive the lens are. So I think 500 to 600, 400, 600 is around okay.
So could you do it with like a cheaper budget lens? There's like maybe a f5, f6 kind of lens. Do you really need like those f4, 2.8, those kinds?
For the moon, right, because it's quite bright in nature, you don't really need a 2.8 to f4
Okay.
5.6 to even f8 is more than enough because the moon itself is very bright.
Autofocus or manual focus lens, does it matter?
If you are lazy and the moon is actually very bright, you can actually use autofocus. Just focus on the moon and just focus, and then it just shoot.
Because I know for manual focus, right, there's a very cheap budget option. There's one TT Artisan 500mm.
Yeah.
So that one is manual. It's a manual lens lah. So is that okay for trying to shoot these kind of things?
Actually, I think it's okay. Optic-wise, it's still acceptable.
Okay. So not so fussy lah about actually what lens lah. It's just the focal length that's more important.
Focal length is more important.
Okay, can. What kind of camera would you choose?
Okay, for me, I've been using Nikon since young, so it works for me. So this is my Nikon Z7 II. It's a mirrorless, as you can see. I'm using my trusty old Sigma lens, 150 to 600 art.
Tripod, any comments on what kind of tripod you need? Is any tripod okay? Do you need something very strong or anything?
As long as the tripod is sturdy enough for your setup, then it's good enough already.
Okay.
You don't need really expensive tripod or anything like that.
You don't need to weigh it down, put weights or anything unless it's windy lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, for the tripod, it varies. Most people, they just use the ball head tripod. I'm using the gear head. Yeah. So it's easier for me to adjust and compose. But this is subjective. Everybody,
it's preference.
Some people like the ball head, some people like the gear, so it depends.
Okay.
So a strong recommendation is you need to have a
cable release.
Yeah, cable release, which is remote.
Okay, so I think you only need some basic stuff like you don't really need very complicated, expensive gear to shoot the moon.
Not really.
Okay, so can try it with your own cameras. Crop sensor, not crop sensor, full frame. What's the difference?
Actually, no difference. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so the moon is quite high up. It's quite a good size now and it's quite clear, so we're gonna shoot now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how I set up the camera. So you can see that the moon is already in focus. I'm using focus peaking to just help with the manual focus because I'm using a manual focus lens. So settings that I've used, you can use focus magnifier to just punch in and really check. So you can see that the craters are visible, there's the peaking there, so all is good. Okay, then I set it to continuous high and we're using electronic shutter. And if your tripod is stable enough, you can turn off steady shot or you can leave it on because this is a body one, so you can try one set with and one set without and just pick the better one. Other than that, I think it's quite simple. Just set your exposure roughly to where you can see the detail. If you want to see my histogram, it looks like this. So if you push it too high, clipping on the right already. So you don't want to clip anything. So you can see the highlights are still there. You can see it come down. So generally, I think 800, 1/50, f8 roughly should be okay. Okay, so I framed up everything already. I'm using the app that controls the camera, so I don't need to use the wire. There's a plane coming in
Across the moon?
to cross the moon, so we're gonna try and shoot lah. Okay, that was slightly below the moon. So I don't know, is it like some challenge among all these photographers that they want to capture a plane flying across the moon?
He has beginner luck. He got it the first time and I never got it before. I'm so jealous. Okay, so for settings, right, it varies. For myself, typically I'll try to keep my shutter speed around 100-ish, 100 to 160, and which means that my ISO will set to be around 500 to 640. I did mention earlier that the moon is very bright, so you don't have to worry about ISO and shutter speed. In my preference, I will shoot about 125 with ISO 640. Always remember to always position and then use the remote, because if you use your hand, you might introduce vibration to the camera and you'll have a very blurry picture. So because I'm using a gear head, so all I need to do is just rotate and position myself, and position the camera to the moon. So I'll just take a shot and see that it's actually pretty sharp. I don't have to do anything. Okay, so my ISO is actually 125, ISO 640.
Okay, so another question I think most people will ask, right? Do you shoot in RAW or JPEG for this kind of thing?
RAW is always the better way to go lah. Because RAW has, like I say, like many people also say that RAW contains more detail and more data, they say, compared to JPEG. Yeah.
How about white balance?
For white balance, I'm always amazed with Nikon's white balance. I'll just set auto. And maybe something I would like to add on is that you see a lot of social media news. They say strawberry moon, red moon,
Colorful moon.
the recently
yeah.
pink moon. It doesn't really mean that the color hue of the moon is that particular color. Pink moon doesn't mean pink. It just means in like, from what I know, in certain other countries, it's just certain flowers that is pink. It's the time is in spring lah, so it blooms. So they use that period, which is a full moon, as a pink moon, to tell people that oh, it's spring. Then pink flowers just bloom. Or for example, the other one that is coming is in June, the strawberry moon. It doesn't mean the moon is red lah. It doesn't mean it orange red. It's like the color of a strawberry. It means that it is the time to harvest strawberry. So they call it the strawberry moon.
I think one more setting that you need to be aware of is the OS setting, right? The stabilization setting of the lens. So he was saying you should turn it off when you're on a tripod.
Just to play safe, yeah. In case I do not know how the lens behave when it's focused, whether the IS will shake the lens or anything, just to prevent it. Since you're on a tripod, it's very stable, so you don't have to worry. Just switch off the IS or the stabilizer on the lens and just shoot as per normal. For your camera stabilizer, you can leave it on. I think it's okay so far.
Yeah, so far I've tried with, without, I think it's roughly the same. As long as your tripod is steady, but I think if your tripod is vibrating, you might want to leave it on.
Yeah, if you are still not comfortable, you just shoot with both off and on, then it's good. Bring it home
but
and compare.
I think with the lens on, it's a bit weird. I've tried shooting on a tripod with it on before.
A bit shaky, right?
It's not shaky, it's blur.
Yeah, because sometimes the IS will try to, because it's stationary, right? So the IS, even though
it's like overcompensating.
It doesn't know, so it will just keep trying on its best. Yeah.
So, you can
so it's best to keep it off lah.
Yeah. Then for how about shutter? Do you use like mechanical shutter or you go electronic shutter?
Personally, I have tried both mechanical and electronic, right? It doesn't really make a difference, but just to play safe, I will use the electronic just to reduce the probability of blurry pictures in case it introduces vibration.
Yeah. And one other thing is that I think most cameras, if you're on electronic, it shoots faster bursts, right?
Yeah, faster bursts.
So if you're gonna do a lot of stacking, then if you're shooting on burst, you might want to use electronic.
It's better actually.
Yeah. There shouldn't be any like, what's that thing? The warping of the image.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, because nothing is moving.
Blending lah, no. Bending, no, it doesn't.
So it's fine. Okay, so I think we're done with settings.
Yeah, pretty much it. And then the rest is
post-processing.
Post-processing. Yeah, post-processing. But before that, we need practice and practice until they get the hang of it.
But do you think you need to process it a lot, or sometimes straight off camera you can get quite a good image without doing a lot of stacking, a lot of heavy editing?
If the sky is clear right now, like now, and you have a pretty good long focal length, actually one shot is more than enough most of the time.
Yeah, and the cameras now are so good, right?
Yeah.
The noise is quite low, so actually
and for all the social media lovers, right? Because it downsize the picture quality, so you can't really see the difference. Yeah.
Anyway, it depends what kind of photographer you are. Whether you want to capture what is real or you want to like manipulate it a lot.
Yeah, so like I say, my advice for taking pictures, especially let it be the moon or landscape, white balance is pretty important. So try to get a white balance as accurate as possible, like what you see. Because I've seen strange colors, the moon like
purple,
then you got red. I mean, it just looks weird.
Let us know if you want us to actually try shooting film on this, because I actually borrowed a lens. Let me show you the lens.
Be surprised that the old film lens are still pretty much in use today, and there's a reason for that, because they are still very sharp.
So the photos that you have seen from my camera, so it's a A7R5, but I have an adapter. This is a Nikon 300mm f4. Yeah, so this is the D ones, right? With the
this is
aperture.
the AF lah. It's about the 90s.
Yeah. So it still has the aperture control manually. So this is the one you would want to use if you want to adapt to other mirrorless brands lah.
Okay.
Because this cannot do the electronic control. Yeah. So this is the setup, and I'm also using a teleconverter.
Yeah, 1.4.
Yeah. So it's a 1.4 teleconverter on it. So this is like a 420 mm, yeah. Manual focus still, so still can get some pretty good shots out of this. I'm surprised at the quality of the lens.
And now you know why I have so many.
So old doesn't mean bad, so this is a good buy, you know, if you can actually find one use, I think it's quite worth
and
it.
it's cheap nowadays. You probably can get it below 500 Sing dollars.
Yeah, you just need the adapter and any mirrorless camera because this adapts to anything. Maybe I can use this on the F3 actually. It will fit on the F3.
Yeah,
It should work on the F3, so I think next round we'll try on the F3.
Okay.
When there's a next full moon, we'll try.
That will be probably 1 month later lah.
Can lah, we shoot Portra 800 lah. So thanks for watching this episode. I think we'll do the editing in another video. Maybe just to show general how to edit like photos lah.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk a bit about this kind of astro editing.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, leave some comments. If you hate this video, let us know. See what else we can do. Bye bye.
Bye bye.